Good morning, and welcome to the Cyber Smart Morning News Update. With the always evolving world of cyber threats and defense, you need a source you can trust. FBI retired Special Agent Darren Mott guides you through today's intricate cyber landscape and brings you the latest headlines and insights and what it means to you. Let's dive into today's cyber news.
Good morning, friends. It is Monday. June 10th, 2024. This is the Cyber Smart Morning News Update. I'm your host, retired FBI Supervisory Special Agent Darren Mott. And I want to apologize. I didn't get around to my Friday podcast. It was a crazy busy week, a lot of stuff going on, and I just got sidetracked, and that's really all there is to it. And so will I make up for it with more episodes this week? Who knows? We'll see what we can do, right? So I'll be honest with you. During this podcast, I got muscles all over my body cramping because I played pickleball for like 3 hours in the heat. So I'm electrolyte deprived, but not that you care or know or should really worry about that kind of thing. So let's get right into it. But if I start screaming, it's because something cramped up and it was bad. Bleepingcomputer.com. Bill told us this was all over the news sites this weekend. PHP fixes critical RCE flaw impacting all versions of Windows. RCE is a remote code execution. So a new PHP for Windows remote code execution vulnerability has been disclosed, impacting all releases since version 5.0, potentially impacting a massive number of servers worldwide. So what is PHP? PHP is short for Hypertext Preprocessor. Now how they get that from PHP from that, but okay. It's a generally purpose scripting language that powers everything from blogs to the most popular websites in the world. I asked ChatGPT to explain it to me, and it says basically the same thing. It allows the creation and management of dynamic content databases, session tracking, and even the development of full-scale web applications. So it's a freeware that's you can have on Windows, but obviously, as with all software, vulnerabilities exist. So the new RCE flaw tracked as CVE 2024-4577, discovered by DevCore principal security researcher Orange Tsai on May 7th, reported it to PHP developers. However, the application security updates on the project with such large-scale deployment is complicated, could potentially leave a significant number of systems vulnerable to attacks for extended periods. Unfortunately, when a new critical vulnerability impacting many devices is disclosed, obviously, threat actors and researchers immediately begin attempting to find vulnerable systems, and that's the case here. So the flaw is caused by an oversight in the handling of character encoding conversion, specifically the best fit feature on Windows when PHP is used in CGI. There's a lot of technical stuff that really this podcast is not necessarily needed for. So let's get into remediation. How do you fix this? If you have PHP on your system, you should upgrade to versions that incorporate the patches PHP 8.3.8, PHP 8.2.20, and PHP 8.1.29. For systems that cannot be immediately upgraded and users of end-of-life versions, it's recommended to apply a mod rewrite rule to block attacks, and this particular article gives that, so feel free to go take a look at that in the show notes. You can click right there. It'll take you to the article and give you that information. So this is an issue that's going to impact most Windows users, especially if you're using PHP, because if you don't update it, you will have this vulnerability. Sadly, probably millions of people aren't aware of this, aren't going to patch it, and bad things are going to happen. All right, cybernews.com, Stephanie Shepard reporting the Los Angeles Unified School District, 26 million students' personal data put up for sale on a hacker forum. At least 5 databases filled with sensitive records of more than 26.4 million Los Angeles Unified School District students, teachers, and staff members were posted for sale Thursday on a notorious cyber criminal market breach forums. The seller, a breach forum member called Satanic, provided 2 sample links for download, a $5,000 price tag, and their Telegram channel for interested buyers. Several master files appear to contain the most student data, said to include demographics, meal plans, graduation status, coursework, and which school out of 100,000 in the district each student attends. LAUSD is the second largest public school district in the United States, behind New York City. Based on the U.S. Department of Education, the district serves more than 600,000 students, grades K through 12, and employs close to 75,000 teachers. So there's only 600,000 students and 75,000 teachers, but 28-point-something million records stolen. That's pretty much a historical record base. And the problem being, of course, is that fraudulent activity can now be used because scammers have the social security numbers and also personal details to open new accounts, create credit histories, and do all sorts of stuff. For minors that aren't in the point to doing that, and no one will be aware of it until they become adults and suddenly they have all of this outstanding debt. So again, the interesting thing is I'm going to guess that LAUSD is not providing credit monitoring services. But I point this particular article out because obviously LAUSD, second largest school district in the country, they probably employ some people doing cybersecurity. I would think what would be great from this breach is if they said, here's how it happened, because this article does not say how they got in. It would be great to know how they got in, because trust me, other school districts are going to be victims of this as well. This is the first, I mean, and they already have been. So if you work for a school district, or you know someone who works for a school district, you may want to tell them to get in gear and understand that bad guys are coming for your data. So are you encrypting it? How are you storing it? All that kind of stuff we have to ask. So this will not be the last school hack I think I probably talk about over the summer, especially now it's summer. So people are paying even less attention within these school districts. Darkreading.com, Jai Vijayan reporting, GitHub repos targeted in cyber extortion attacks. Since at least February, a threat actor has been attempting to extort victims by stealing or wiping data in their GitHub repositories. An unknown user going by the handle GitLocker, that's cute, is grabbing and wiping clean repositories on GitHub in an apparent effort to extort victims. The campaign, which a researcher at the Chilean cybersecurity group CronUp highlighted on X this week, appears to have been ongoing since at least February 2024. Posts on GitHub community forums suggest that several GitHub users have run into the issue over the past few months, although the actual number remains unknown. GitHub obviously did not respond immediately to Dark Reading about whether the company is aware of the threat or what advice it might have for GitHub users. But the point being here, if you are a GitHub user, hopefully you are turning on multi-factor authentication, because chances are these bad guys are using credential stuffing techniques to get into accounts and then do bad things. Again, does it say how they got in? It doesn't really say how they got in, but it would be nice to know, right? As far as, have we figured out how they got it? It says, it appears, this is a quote from the GitHub security team, I think, it appears that unauthorized access has been gained to our servers, potentially compromising user data and the integrity of our platform, the email said. It sought the recipient's immediate assistance in addressing the issue by clicking on a link that would purportedly authorize GitHub security team to take necessary actions. Both the job and the security emails directed the users to GitHubCareer.online. So there's how they got in. There you go. So it's a spearfish campaign. People are, hey, they're clicking a link in an email. Bad things are happening. So, I mean, the people who use GitHub are generally technically savvy, so they should know what they're supposed to do. But these emails will then prompt users to authenticate on GitHub. And if no action is taken after a brief interview, the page automatically redirects to an OAuth 2 authentication page with specific query parameters. So that's kind of how they're getting in. So again, if you're a GitHub user and you get a thing saying your GitHub thing has been compromised, don't click on it. But so be careful. GitHub users, bad guys are coming for you, which is not a surprise. They've been doing it for a while. Cyberscoop.com, AJ Vicens, Microsoft rolls back the dumbest security move in a decade. Okay. Changes to the AI feature dubbed Recall come as Microsoft navigates a fallout of a string of high-profile security breaches. So Recall has been recalled. I'm sure I'm not the first one with that joke, but there we go. Microsoft on Friday said it would make major changes to a recently announced AI product that relied on screenshots of user screens to make a searchable log of past activity, a move that comes after withering criticism from security researchers. When Microsoft announced the feature it dubbed Recall last month, CEO Satya Nadella referred to it as a photographic memory that could recreate moments from the past of anything a user does, using the company's proprietary AI models running on upcoming Copilot Plus PCs. Security researchers quickly pointed out that such screenshots would include sensitive information, including usernames and passwords. But Microsoft said the data was secure. This is Microsoft, the same Microsoft who had all their executives' emails compromised because they couldn't secure their email system. Sure. Going to be secured. Prominent security experts, including Kevin Beaumont, quickly pointed out that the data was, in fact, stored in plain text and called the decision to roll out the product, which was slated to be released June 18th, the dumbest cybersecurity move in a decade. Well, anyway, so they have not, basically what they've done, they've not made it in, they've not killed the project. They just haven't turned it on by default when you buy it. So you have to actually physically go in and turn that on. So hopefully people who aren't really wise enough to know this feature exists or want it won't turn it on. But If I was a business owner, I would not buy one of these computers for my business. I want to use it for my personal stuff. So this is going to be interesting just to kind of watch how this rolls going forward, because someone's going to have it on. They're going to have their computer compromised. They're going to lose all their data. They're going to sue Microsoft. It's going to be fantastic. All right. HelpNetSecurity.com. Cyber insurance isn't the answer for ransom payments. All right. That headline drew me in, and just on the headline. Ransomware remains an ongoing threat for organizations and is the largest single cause of IT outages and downtime, as 41% of data is compromised during a cyber attack, according to VM. I don't know who that is, but I assume they're a software company. Let's see, what does it say here? Cyber attacks naturally affect an organization's financial stability, but just as significant is the toll it has on teams and individuals. When a cyber attack strikes, 45% of respondents reported heightened pressure on IT and security teams. Yeah, no kidding. So what's the insurance piece here? Here it is. Okay, so this says paying the ransom does not ensure recoverability. That's certainly the case for the third year in a row. 81% of organizations surveyed paid the ransom to end an attack and recover data. 1 in 3 of these organizations that paid the ransom could still not recover even after paying, and also for the third year in a row. More organizations paid but could not recover than those organizations that recovered without paying. So there's the catch-22, right? I'll get to that in a minute. So contrary to the belief that having cyber insurance increases the likelihood of ransom payments, Veeman's research indicates otherwise. Despite only a minority of organizations possessing a policy to pay, 81% opted to do so. Interestingly, 65% paid with insurance, and another 21% had insurance but chose to pay without making a claim. That implies that in 2023, 86% of organizations had insurance coverage that could have been utilized for cyber. Okay, that's the point. But so, the point here being, it comes down to the question: do you pay or not when it comes to ransomware? Well, clearly now we have enough information to make the point that we don't know, right? If you pay it and you get your data back, great. If you pay it and you don't, that's certainly a 1 in 3 chance that's the case. That's going to be the problem going forward for all these companies, is making that risk assessment. Now, it does say most organizations risk reintroducing infections. Of course, that's the big problem, is that many of these companies, once they get hit with ransomware, they don't really make the things that they're supposed to do to learn a lesson from it to not get hit again, and some do. So, it is what it is. It's an interesting article. I highly recommend it because there's a lot of good data in this one. But, ransomware and paying it and the right to pay it and the issues with cyber insurance are going to continue, especially if cyber insurance companies get smarter and try to figure out, okay, do I want to insure this company because their data may already be on the dark web and they're not doing good things to secure their stuff? Hard to say. All right. So securityfairs.com, New York Times source code compromised via exposed GitHub token. The source code and data of the New York Times leaked on a 4chan channel. It was stolen from the company's GitHub repositories in January. So I'm not going to get deep into this. The New York Times got hacked and they lost their crap. Bummer for them. Do better. You make a lot of money. You should have good cybersecurity. That's not the only point I'm making there. This one is a no kidding file. This is Naven Good for cybersecurityinsiders.com. I'm not going to read the article. I'm just going to read the headline. You can laugh along with me. Google and Microsoft confirm cyber threat to 2024 Paris Olympics. No kid. I mean, come on. What kind of this is like a headline I saw last week. It said, just in, there's not enough people to work cybersecurity. I mean, the media is full of idiots. I got to say, they're full of idiots, but I'm going to leave it at that because that's enough idiocy for one day for me. And since I've been going over, I'm going to stay under this time around. So again, I thank you for taking the time to download, listen. As always, if you have thoughts, comments on the podcast, just feel free to hit me up, Darren at CyBUr.com. Find me on LinkedIn. I love interacting with folks and hearing if you like what's going on here, if you don't like what's going on here. Well, within the next 2 weeks, my new podcast, Tactical Cyber, will come out with its first episode. I'll have more information on that as we get closer. You probably see that on LinkedIn if you want. And also, my book is coming out at the end of the month. Whether the FBI approves it or not, I'm going to release it because I know there's nothing in there, but they are going on 7 months now, or no, 6 months of not even reviewing it. So they have violated their own policy. So I think I can release it. That's what I'm going to do. With that, know that knowledge is protection. If we understand the threats targeting us, we can assess our risk, proceed wisely. Thanks again for listening, downloading, passing the information along. And join me with saying we need more postmortems. That would be fantastic. Have a great rest of your Monday.
Cyber Smart Morning News is written and produced by Cyber Guy Productions. Feel free to email thoughts, comments, or suggestions to Darren at thecyberguy.com. or follow Darren on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/DarrettMott. Thanks for listening.